Alright, my character sheet's pulled up.
Awesome. Alright, so let's go ahead and kind of go ahead and give me your background you came up with, see what we're working with.
Well, Oromis is a guy that has studied, books and all that shit for several years. He's a sage, he knows a lot. And he's moved to this place to, I guess, learn more. He's already read all the books he's got. He's now adventuring to, I guess, find more.
Okay.
Kind of bare minimum, but I don't really know much of the place that we're playing.
Understandable. Alright, well, that sounds pretty solid. Well, I'm going to go ahead and dive in with the little intro I wrote. You travel on the outskirts of Aslox, nearing the border connecting to Aslox Kingdom. You've come to this point searching for new knowledge. As you travel, you see in the distance a group of men on horses surrounding a crowned man who is also on a horse. It's apparent they are protecting the man in the middle. The group is posted up to the side of a road in a small clearing with a nice shady view created by tall treetops. Most of the men are silent and stern-looking. The crowned man is speaking quietly with one of the men around him. You can't make out the words well, but you can tell there's about 13 men total. So, you're pretty much just standing, I'd probably say about 1,000 feet away from them. So you can't completely hear, but you can tell two of them are talking. So at this point, you could move closer, or what would you like to do at this point?
I'd like to walk closer.
Alright. So, as you approach closer, the words become clearer. We must go now, that is clear. With something of this nature, we can't afford to take risk. The soldiers will be here soon, and we will be off. The man speaking with him is dressed in similar clothing to the other 11 men. They appear to be knights, but more individuals, as it was clear as day they were not the average fighters. Before you can look more over the man replies to the king. King, I understand the urgency, but what of our people? Are we to leave our kingdom at risk of being invaded? Silence now. It may not be the best plan, but it is the only plan right now. I have it under control. We will be on our way when my men arrive in a moment. The kingdom will be bare for a short time, but when we arrive, I will appoint someone worthy to come handle things here. So do not imply I would leave my people at risk. I have my eyes and ears where I need them. Before he can continue anymore, they all take notice of a massive group of people quickly flooding the distant area. All the men begin to rise and ready themselves. The man that the king was talking to turns and faces you. He motions at the king, who looks over to you. The king shakes his head and you hear him say, No concern, not worth the time. They turn, and as the last man grabs his bag from the ground, they all begin heading toward the large crowd in the distance. The king and his men move toward what you can now see is an army of men, too many to currently count, all riding forward on their mounts. So basically, you can just see, they're heading the opposite direction of where they were, so forward towards you. Does that make sense? Not towards you, but away from you,
So they're rushing towards the men away from me, right?
Yeah, let's say you're looking north. They're posted up north, but they're still going north, because that's where the men are coming from, and they're going north to the men. So away from the men, basically the big army is coming towards you, but the men are going towards your army.
So, are there any hills nearby I could hide behind?
Well, I wouldn't. There's some small hills and stuff, but you're basically in this really thick forest, and you just happen to be. You've been following the roads, and pretty much you could go into any of the trees around you for shelter or coverage.
Well, if that's the case, I'm gonna hide behind the tree and watch the battle.
Alright. Well, You go hide behind the tree, and you kind of sit there a few minutes before the men ever reach towards the army. But when the army draws closer to the men, from what you can see, nothing uncivil seems to be happening. There's no fight or anything. There's just a lot of sounds of talking, but it's so far away at this point because they probably had to travel another, I'd say, 500 to 1,500 feet to get towards where the army was coming from. So they're pretty far away and you can't really hear too much from them, but you can tell everything's good, like nobody over there is trying to fight with each other.
I'll proceed closer to hear what they're saying, but still in the forest hiding.
Okay. As you get closer, you can hear them a little bit better, but the king is mostly just kind of hyping up his men. He's, all right, men, it's time to do this. We haven't much time to waste. Don't worry about everyone at home. I will make sure everything is tended to. I hope you are prepared for a long journey. So pretty much he just keeps hyping them up and getting everybody ready for whatever they're doing. And then they turn east and begin, the whole army of people starts going through the woods to the right. And as the army starts to clear out of vision a little bit, down the path you can see you're close to the kingdom, the Aslox Kingdom. And that's where they were coming from. So pretty much they're taking off in that direction. They obviously got some shit they got to do. And at this point, like they basically, you kind of heard their whole, whatever the king was talking about. Like for some reason, one of his men thinks they're abandoning the kingdom almost.
So they already rode off, or are they still there?
I'd say you can kind of see them clearing into the woods. Like you can see like the last bit of them, but there's so many of them that getting any closer to them before they leave would be putting yourself in their visibility for sure.
I would like to trail behind them, but keeping my distance.
Okay. Give me a stealth check. Let's see.
Which die should I roll? D20?
Yeah, and you want to apply your dexterity modifier to it, whatever your total is.
It landed on 17 plus 2 dexterity. That'll be a 19.
Okay, so you're pretty fucking quiet as you sneak your way behind them. As you trail behind them, I'd say to be safe, you got to be at least about, I'd say roughly 200 feet into the like trees and stuff. There's a lot of random chatter, a lot of people talking about war. You hear some slight mention about the king's family, but the king is kind of huddled up inside of all these people, so you can't really see him specifically. There's some more light chatter, but they're really just trying to get to wherever their destination is, and you can tell there's a lot of emotions about it. Some people are really excited. Some people are scared. There's a lot of unease for sure. There hasn't been any like mention of where they're going though. But they're going east, I believe. So they're basically trailing like the border. You have that map, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, so basically, let's say when you approached them, they were basically in the direct line of where the two continents seem to split. And as you're following them, you're pretty close to the border, but not enough that you can see the ocean. And they're traveling downward along that line. As you follow behind them, you can still hear some more talks, and you're still hearing stuff about the king's family. You heard somebody mention something about a woman of importance, and high urgency about her. they're still being real vague with the details. It almost seems like they're kind of worried about talking about it. So you're only hearing little small pieces of it. From that point, they're pretty much just still kind of traveling on. How long are you wanting to trail behind them?
I'd like to trail behind them till nightfall.
Okay. So I'd say that's probably going to be about another 4 hours that you travel behind them. And then I'd say when nightfall breaks, they start looking for a nice place to settle for the evening. And they start pulling out or starting fires and putting up some little they're not so much as tents, they're a little more dingy, like a cheap hut almost. And you see some people start cooking, you see them they do send off a couple men to the side, down, more up north towards where the ocean was. I would say you would assume they're probably going to get water, as they've got hundreds and hundreds of horses out here. They are trying to tie their horses up to trees and stuff, but there's just so many of them. You can tell there's a lot of chaos in this situation, as if they weren't really prepared for whatever's going on. But a lot of the men just are kind of winding down after they get everything set up. You do hear a couple men talking about what happens to the kingdom. When are we going to be able to send anybody there? You can tell in their voice they're worried about the kingdom being defenseless, basically, because this is their whole, as far as it appears, this is their whole sole army.
You said they're taking their entire army with them?
That's what it seems, for sure, because this is hundreds and hundreds. Honestly, I'm thinking more thousands, but it's probably give or take. There are definitely a whole lot of people here, and this could easily probably be enough men to feel like a castle or an airport almost. The airports are pretty big. Maybe that's not correct, but there's tons of men. If you didn't have a good dexterity check, you would have been seen real easy. I put it that way. And the men they sent off into the woods, I'd say they probably sent about 6 or 7 men. It's hard to tell because it is nightfall. What's your dark vision? 60 feet or something like that? Let's see.
Dark vision is 60 feet.
Okay, yeah. So, let's say you saw 7 men. And they went off into the distant north. And then there's just the other however many guys camped up and finding places to relax still. At that point, are you just going to keep kind of chilling out and listening?
How far away am I from their encampment?
I'm still going to say you're probably about 200 feet off. You just happen to see the 6 or 7 men leaving just because they kind of came in your direction about 150 feet and then went north from there. So they backtracked just to a spot they saw that looked like a good place to travel through the wood lines.
I'm going to follow those guys, but still keeping my distance.
Okay. So I'd say you follow them for probably about I'm not going to make you roll another stealth check because you passed the other one. So I'm going to say you follow them for probably what feels like 30 to 40 minutes before, in your vision, you can start seeing the horizon of the ocean. And all the men, it doesn't seem like anything that they fancy. They just keep kind of walking. You can see that about 4 of them have these large buckets over their shoulder, I saw a long wooden pole with the buckets hanging on side. And they're chatting up a little bit. One of them says to the other, I got Martha back home. I really don't know if this was such a great idea. The other man turns to him. Don't disrespect the king. I know this is crazy. I know everyone might be in trouble, but We just have to do what he says. Well, I don't want to leave my family because of his foolish decisions. The other guy immediately gives him a really stern look and looks him up and down. Don't. The king is not going to let anything happen to our family. Well, how's he supposed to help anyone when we're here? He's got the entire platoon here. There's no one there to help anybody. Don't worry about it, man. Everything's going to be okay. The king knows what he's doing. And I'd say that's the gist of what you're getting out of the conversation until they get about 20 feet away from the actual water. You probably followed behind them for another hour before they actually reach the water. And now they're just kind of going down onto the embankment or the beach with these buckets of water.
I'd like to approach them.
Okay, like face to face type deal?
Face to face.
Alright. Okay. So, as you get closer, one of the men, not one of the two that was talking earlier, he immediately turns around. He turns around as if he senses something is off, and then he sees you, and he jerks around to the men, and he's like, "Boys, we got somebody here!" And they all immediately turn around and face you. You're probably about 15 feet from them. They all do appear to be humans, and they're all real armored up, but their outfits are all the exact same. They're like these metal clothes almost. They're different than armor, but they have more like a clothing look.
I throw my hands up and I say, "I do not want any trouble. I'm only here to ask questions."
Roll a d20 and add your charisma to it.
It landed on 13 plus 1 charisma, 14.
Okay. The other 6 men walk up right behind this one. He says, "Well, what do you want? Why would you walk up to us? Who do you think you are?"
I am Oromis, only a sage. I wonder what's going on with you guys. You all seem so troubled.
The one in the front, he kind of turns around and looks at the rest of them and gives them a nod and turns back to you. "Listen, everyone's got their troubles, man. This has nothing to do with you, and you need to stay where your business is."
Am I able to, use, intimidation or persuasion at this point?
Are you trying to intimidate or persuade them into telling you more about the situation?
Yeah.
I would roll persuasion. So that's a d20 with your charisma bonus, I believe, which you said was 1.
Alright, well, I'm gonna say what my character says, and then we'll do a persuasion check, I guess. "Well, I was wanting to help, but I guess you and all your families are just going to die." Well, it landed on 19, plus 1 charisma, that's a 20.
Okay, nice. The guy looks back at his men and then he turns to you again. "Alright, you think you're such a big shot? You help us then. The issue at hand, we can't talk about. It's real hush-hush stuff, but I know what we need from you then."
What do you need from me?
You want to help our families? Go to the kingdom. Make sure everyone's fine. Don't let anything happen to them.
What dangers are coming to your kingdom?
Well, specifically at the moment, nothing aside from the issues with the king. But it's more important that he goes where he's needed right now. According to him, that is. I'm gonna say one of the ones in the back, he steps forward beside the other guy. Please, if you're serious about this, we really need our families protected. There's no one there to help them.
If I'm going to be doing any protection, I need to know what I'm up against.
The two look at each other and then look back to you, and the second one begins talking. Our kingdom has many issues with different places, but with the random wilderness and things, there's always some sort of monster or enemy coming for the kingdom. Nothing severe normally, but we can't really afford to take risk when it comes to our family. If you were there, you could perhaps have to stop a couple wolves from attacking a child or anything. It's a whole world. We try our best to protect the kingdom. We have our walls, but there's always something that makes its way through. And they're vulnerable now. Just for record, I can tell I'm doing very inconsistent with my voices, so my bad, but I'll work on it.
Oh, you're good. I can kind of tell when you're voice acting.
Okay.
If that's the case, in what direction is your kingdom?
They look at each other with kind of like a hopeful look, all 7 of them, and they look back to you, and the first guy starts talking again. Well, the way we came from was the kingdom. We've been traveling for a good few hours by now, so if you just go back north, or go west and then go up, you can't miss the kingdom. You'll see it. So just go west, back where you came from, and eventually you'll be outside the kingdom.
Okay, I'm kind of stuck between whether I want to go back toward the kingdom or I still want to keep following these fuckers.
Talk it out. What are the pros and cons?
It would appear, though, that the danger that you are really scared of is what you are going toward. What is this danger?
Like I said, man, the stuff's all real hush-hush. The king would have my head if I said it, and my loyalty to him is unbreakable. While I feel a certain type of way about his decisions, I do what the king says, and I can't expose that. They'll kind of nod in agreement.
You guys don't have to worry. Anything you tell me would stay behind my lips. Persuasion check?
You can, but I'll be honest with you. So, that situation, the king and his army situation, is a bigger part of the story, and I'm still working on a lot of that. So I don't want to go too in-depth with that situation yet till I get it crafted the way I want. There's a lot of other things that can be happening, but that one they're being super tight about for a reason. I mean, if you really want to try, I can figure something out, but that's just from DM to player.
Alright then, well, if that's the case, I guess, I'm gonna tell these guys bye, and then, I guess head toward the kingdom.
Alright, and before you go, one guy shouts out to you, wait, I have something for you before you go. As long as you're gonna do what you say, take this potion of healing.
Alright, I'm gonna write that down real quick.
Alright. And a potion of healing, when you use it, you roll 2 d4s plus 2. So potentially 10 at the highest. And I guess 4 at the lowest. Not too shabby. What do you got, like 7 health? Alright, so you take this potion and they wave you off and you kind of begin your journey back to where you were. I'd say it's probably going to take you, I think you walked for like 5 or 6 hours or something like that, just following the original one, and then another hour or so following those guys. Or maybe it was like 40 minutes or something. But, so it's going to take you, it'll probably be noon before you get comfortably back to where you started, where you saw them in the clearing. And now in the distance, you can see the kingdom. There's a giant gate outside, like surrounding what you see to be this tall castle. I'd say it's probably like 2 miles down this clearing before you actually get towards the gate.
You said I'm about 2 miles from the gate?
Yeah, give or take.
I guess I'll walk straight up to the gate.
Alright. I'd say by the time you get within about 2,000 feet of the gate, a man starts shouting down towards you from the top. Hey! Hey! What do you want? What are you doing?
I mean no harm. I wish to find an inn so I can rest.
He kind of looks at you for a second, not responding. I'll be down in a minute. And it probably takes him a good, I'd say, 6 or 7 minutes before he gets down. And on the gate, there's this like drop door, and there's windows on each side of it. And he walks up to the window to the right of the door. You said you need an inn?
Yes, an inn. I've been gone for several days and haven't slept.
What are you carrying on you? Where are you from? I need to know this stuff. I would say, since you don't actually know exactly where your character came from, I would go ahead and say you're from the Aslox region. And for pronunciation, I've had trouble pronouncing this myself, so I'm just saying Fox Sun when I say it. A Fox Sun.
I am a sage from a Foxun.
He looks you up and down again. He says, If you're really just looking for a place to lay your head, I can let you in. But I don't know if I feel comfortable with you having weapons. Do you have any?
I do have weapons, but I would like to keep them.
What are you packing? No magical crazy wands or nothing like that, right?
Only a quarterstaff.
Kind of scratches his chin for a moment. I tell you what, I'll let you in. You ever do any adventuring? We could use a handy man right now.
Will do. I'll speak with you tomorrow.
Okay. Alright. The drop door lowers down, and you're free to walk in now.
So what's the setup of the kingdom castle where we're at?
So, the kingdom, there's a giant castle off in the distance, but the kingdom itself, like the whole border almost, is surrounded by this giant gate. So just walking into the kingdom, you're not quite at the castle, but it's like a huge land, like just imagine tons of like grassland, but you can see the castle's obviously the center of everything, but there's hundreds of different little places, and you can see forest over this way, you can see buildings over to the left of the castle. You know, it's giant. Like the whole kingdom itself is probably like comparing it to like America. You know, it's maybe not America, maybe a little smaller, but it's a giant, like a continent basically, or country. Yeah, country is what I'm aiming for. So there's a whole lot, but when you walk through this gate, not only do you see all that, but you can see some like small huts surrounding the area on the gate. Right back, basically I'd say about 15 feet from where you came into this door at, there's a little watchtower, probably about 30 feet high. The gate's taller than the watchtower is, essentially. You can just tell this is the start of their civilization with a lot in between. But as you walk through the door, the man says, "So, I'll let you sleep in my tower tonight because I can't necessarily take you to the closest inn. We're having some issues there, and that's actually what I was hoping you could help me with."
What sort of issues?
Well, normally we have people constantly coming back and forth from the inn and, just going about their daily lives. And suddenly we haven't seen anybody in weeks from the place. So we're thinking something's up. There's got to be some reason nobody's came back. But we'll go ahead and let you take the night rest, and we'll talk about it in the morning. And I'll take you up to the castle and see what we can work out.
Sounds like a plan. Point me to the nearest bed.
He just kind of points up at the tower that was like 15 feet. Yeah, there's a bed in there. I would hardly call it a bed, but it's a little bit of a cot on the floor. You have right at it.
I bid the man farewell and I go up the tower to sleep.
I'd say kind of time you walk in the tower, there's a couple cots on the bed. You can go ahead and call it a night at that point. So you'll wake up fully rested. Is there anything you want to do before going to bed, or you just want to jump straight into the morning?
I guess it's jump straight into the next morning. But
So you wake up bright and early as the sun's basically beaming right through a window onto your face. As you wake up, the man next to you, or on the opposite cot, the man you talked to the night prior, he sits up, yawns a little bit, and looks over to you. "I've got a feeling it's going to be a good day. You get yourself around, and I'll go ahead and run you up to the kingdom, see what we can work out about this."
All right, let's go.
Alright, so pretty much you get up, and y'all, when y'all go out, y'all end up getting onto a little horse carriage, and y'all ride up there. Pretty quiet ride. The guy doesn't say too much to you. He's giving you time to wake up. And as you get a lot closer to the castle, it's pretty big thing. There's a lot of people out and about. But you can see a lot of people are like standing outside in front of this waterfall type situation. It's like one of those big ones you'd see at like memorial places, and they kind of are kind of looking sketch about the situation. But as y'all pull up, guy gets out and he's like, "Come on, I'm gonna let you meet a couple people." And starts walking up to the water fountain area where all the people are.
Hello.
One man immediately looks over to you. Are you here to help? Are you? Please."
Yes, I am here to help.
He kind of gives a huge sigh of relief. He's like, "Okay, my dad's tavern. Everyone has stopped coming back. We think something's wrong. We're pretty scared. We don't know what to expect, but we can offer you some help from our selection. We've got a couple options if you're really serious about this."
What are these options?
He smiles. "Glad you asked." He turns around, and right behind him there's two men. One of them's pretty big size guy. I'd say he's probably about like 6 or so feet, maybe a little higher, maybe like 6'6" or something. He's a human, and the guy next to him is a high elf actually, and he looks real down. So the human, he's dressed in kind of like tattered rags, basically. Like, he doesn't look civil, like he's been living a great life. And the guy next to him, the high elf, he's got dark black hair. He's got a really sad look, but oddly enough, he's in jester clothes, like the little goofy, colorful hat with the bell. The guy looks at them both. He says, So this guy here, and he points at the human, this is Ark. You could take him, or you could take this guy. Either one will help you. And he points at the jester, and he says, this guy's name's Jeklar, but you can call him whatever you want. Jeklar kind of looks up with a disgruntled face, like you could look at him and tell he's real unhappy, while Ark, the human, he just kind of is here. He's a tough-looking guy. Doesn't seem like he really gives a shit about too much.
I'm going to take Jeklar.
He looks over at Jeklar. You heard his ass. Go with him. Jeklar kind of lets out a sigh. Okay, let's get it done. I know where the place is. I can even take you there. You can tell he has like no motivation on him though. Ark kind of shrugs and turns around and starts walking away. And then the guy that was asking for help, he turns towards him. He says, "Hey, you better get back in the pen. That's enough for today." And now the guy, Ark, kind of just carries away. And so Jeklar walks up and stands beside you. Are you ready for this?
I am ready.
He begins, he actually hops into the carriage that you rode up in here, and the guy rides y'all back to the front. As y'all go to get out, back at the door of the, it's in the kingdom, so he starts taking y'all back, but I'll say he veers off and down a little path, a clearing that leads into a wooded area, and he pulls over before y'all get to the wood spot. He was like, "Well, we really appreciate you doing this, man. You're going to be a big help. I just wish you the best of luck, and I hope it's nothing that's going to be too crazy for you. If you need a human shield, just use Jeklar." Jeklar kind of groans, like annoyed, but doesn't really have much to say about it.
I speak in Elvish to Jeklar. Don't worry, my friend. I won't let any harm come to you.
He kind of looks pretty sad and speaks back to you in the language. He says, "At this point, it doesn't really matter. Let's just get this done." And the guy that brought you up there, he was like, "Well, I'm heading back to my tower. Y'all be safe, you hear?" And he hops back in and starts heading off in the previous direction. Alright, so I believe I have. This is a shitty picture, but I'm gonna just show this to you real quick, just to kind of give you an idea of where we're pretty close to.
Alright.
Should be popping up anytime there. Oh wait, I didn't scroll down. Okay, it's up there. So
Aslox Kingdom?
Yeah, well that's where,
Aslox.
Yeah, that's where we're at right now, but the castle this is just kind of like a little map legend. And that tiny thing is the tavern that is where we're headed now.
Alright.
So Jeklar, he kind of shrugs and he says, "Alright, we're going to probably head about a mile in this direction. We're going to see what's up. This place is called Barmet's Rest Stop. And it's a pretty localized place. Everyone seems to like it. There's many other places, but the guy back there, his dad owns this, and he does a lot of marketing, so he usually stays pretty good in business, which is, I guess, why it's so crazy to everybody that nobody's been coming."
Whose dad owns this?
Are you asking that to him or me?
You.
The guy that had asked for your help at the beginning, like when you first got in front of the fountain. He's the guy that let you choose between these two.
Oh, okay, I was just making sure.
Okay. Well, I guess we better do this, just in case. I'm gonna go ahead and pull out my staff. Never know what we could be walking into.
So, I have a crossbow, a light dagger, dart. longbow, longsword, quarterstaff, shortbow, short sword, and a sling. How do I go about equipping these things, like here in the character sheet?
So I don't actually know necessarily how to do that. I was thinking basically, like, you just have whatever you have, and then you just need to state if you're pulling this item out to use. Or like, okay, I'm going to walk around with my axe, you know?
Okay, but so like, I know like swords have like a damage thing or something. Like unarmed is a +2 or whatever, 5-foot reach. Do you have that kind of information on you?
I can definitely find anything out that I need. So you're wanting to know what your weapon damage and stuff is?
Well, if he's pulling out his weapon, I'm gonna pull out a weapon too.
Okay, yeah. So, which one are you? Let's see. I'm looking at your stuff.
I'm gonna pull out my my long
sword. When you attack successfully with the longsword, you roll 1d8, and then I guess whatever your modifier would be. Longsword's one-handed, right? Or is it two-handed?
Would it say two-hand beside it or anything like that? Because I see a long sword and a short sword in my inventory. I would imagine the long sword's probably two-hand.
I guess it might be. I'm looking at the sheet for it now, and it doesn't say. So I thought most of the items would say two-hand, but we'll roll with it being two-hand for now, and if we find out otherwise, we'll just switch it up. But yeah, so that's a 1d8 on that. Alright. Well, if you're ready to do this, I'm ready.
Let's go.
So, I'd say at this point it's probably about 2 o'clock before it finally gets in your vision. You can basically just see this 2-story little building made of bricks. It's got a little red roof, and at the front, or the corner of the building, there's a big sign that says Barmit's Rest Stop, and you can see there's a lot of blood all over the ground around the place. And the wall you're facing, you're probably about, I'd say you're about 30 feet away coming out of the wood line, basically. And the wall you're facing does have a door on it in the center.
I talked to Jeklar. Is this the backyard?
It may not look like much, but this is actually the front door. To my knowledge, I don't even know if there's any other doors getting in and out this place. I've only been here about 3 or 4 times, as, you know, I'm basically a prisoner, so...
A prisoner?
Well, there's a long story to it. I come from a different place, a whole different lifestyle, and the kingdom ruined it all for me. So, they keep me here as a joke, I guess. Hence the jester outfit. I'm basically just their entertainment. If I'm being honest with you, I think they only sent me because I'm disposable to them.
Well, maybe we can change that, and you can travel with me after this.
He kind of scratches his chin for a moment. And he says, we might could work something out, but I'll tell you what. There's not a soul in that place that's running things right now. I don't know what the king's doing. He just vanished. Nobody knows anything. Aside from there's no one there running things, you know. I think it's time for a change here. If we make it through this, I say we change this place.
The world is always due for a change. But anyways, let's get back to the task at hand.
He nods and turns, and then you suddenly see somebody coming around the corner, like from beside the building where you couldn't see prior, and he's walking towards your door. You can see in his left hand he's holding a short sword, and he's wearing a bandana on top and it's got like some weird sort of like skull-like logo almost, but it's like a crushed skull almost. Man is covered in blood, and he's just walking over towards the door real quick, and he stops right before getting to the door and pulls out a cigarette, or I guess a tobacco. I don't know if they had cigarettes in the fantasy world, so I'm gonna say yes, he had a cigarette.
Cigarettes exist in this world.
Okay, cool. It's canon. He's smoking a good old Camel Crush. Jeklar sees him, he kinda lowers himself.
Shit, should have put a Newport in his hand.
I thought about a Newport, but maybe this guy's just not a Newport guy. But Jeklar kind of hunches down as he sees him come across the corner. He looks over at you. Yeah, this looks like it's gonna be a problem.
What do you mean?
You see the blood all over him? I think he did something bad.
Let's wait for him to walk into the door.
Alright. So he sits there for about, I'd say 5 or 6 minutes and finishes his cigarette. He flicks it out. He looks down. He said, God damn, this is a good place. And then he turns around and goes inside. Jeklar kind of stands up. That was a bandit. That's definitely a local bandit gang around here.
Well, let's try to walk in then.
He looks you up and down. He says, alright, let's do this. But that can be nasty sometimes. I've heard stories of them doing some pretty rough stuff to people. And from the looks of this place, the inside's probably gonna be worse.
Let's try and head around back, see if there's another entrance.
Okay.
What time of day or night is this right now? Is it like evening? Like,
I'm thinking it's probably about 4 o'clock because you slept. Nah, maybe let's go 2 o'clock in the afternoon because you woke up kind of early in the morning. Then y'all took the little trip back to the gate, and then when he took y'all to the forest thing, it took y'all about 2 or so hours to get here. So I'm thinking I'm gonna go with 2 in the afternoon.
okay, before we move around to, we have to, I want to look around, see if there's anyone else around us, like, I want to make sure that we're not about to get fucked.
Alright, roll a perception check.
Yo, do you think it's possible that this D&D website, like, it's got a biased roll or something? Because I just rolled a nat 20. I've been rolling pretty high numbers. I'm gonna roll that bitch again real quick.
I got a 3 on my roll just now.
How about this? I already have perception +4, so roll that D20 for me real quick.
Oh wait, I got my real D20. 18.
Huh, I'm just lucky as hell tonight, ain't I?
Probably so. So that means you obviously got higher than 20, right? So
Yeah, 24 with +4 perception.
okay. So you don't see anybody, but you can hear from what sounds like the other side of the building, almost like a
Jeklar, sounds like someone's asleep back there. Let's try and sneak around.
He nods. You lead the way.
I lead the way and try to sneak around.
Alright, do you want to come from the left side or the right side? Just picture it as like the door was on the side of a single wide trailer. It's obviously not a single wide trailer, but that's like the viewpoint.
There's no windows?
There are windows, but they're pretty heavily boarded up, and What's not boarded up, there's blood splatters all over the windows.
Yeah, we're going around the left side. Sounds like we should go around the left side.
Alright. So, as you go around the left side, the snoring gets a bit louder. And once you kind of start peeking your head around the corner, you can see another bandit is sitting on the ground, leaned up against the wall, sleeping. He's got a big brown glass jug in his hand. And just turning the corner, you can immediately smell the strength of the alcohol.
You said it was only one dude sleeping? Passed out drunk?
Yeah.
Hey, Jacklar. Slit his throat.
He looks you up and down. He's like, alright. Oh, wait, does he even have a knife? I know he's got a staff. Let's see. He does not have a knife from what I'm seeing. Unless it's in, like...
Does he have, like, a sword? He can slit throats with a sword.
I think the only thing he has... Oh, wait, no, I'm wrong. He does have a sword. I was looking at the wrong inventory. Okay. He quickly puts up his staff and pulls out a short sword. He stealthily approaches the dude and he leans down. And now let's roll to see if he successfully slits. Oh, he has advantage, so I'm gonna re-roll that. I think we would have advantage because he's asleep. Advantage is you get to roll twice and pick the higher of them. That time just now I rolled 2. And that time I got a 19. And that would make it... I believe that's dexterity. So that puts me at 20. So I take the short sword and slice right across his throat. He opens his eyes, but they close back within seconds as the blood spurts all down his clothes. He no longer is snoring. So the man's lifeless now. Jeklaw stands up. He looks at the knife, shakes his head, and then turns back to you. Alright, what now?
Is there a door, like, that I can go into, or...
You do not see a door on the side. You see some windows, and you can vaguely see a little bit in one of them. You can see, like, some light, from like a torch almost, it seems like. Most of it's boarded up, but what you can see through the hole is there's definitely some dead bodies on the floor. Lots of blood, and you can hear people walking around. You can't see them, but you hear them.
Am I on the left or the back side of the building?
You're on the back side now. That's where the guy was at.
Alright. So, you said that window is not entirely boarded up, right?
Right.
Okay, I have some rope, and, oh lord, this is about to be a serious dexterity check. Fuck.
I think your deck's pretty solid. +2. Not bad.
Alright, well... I tie my rope into a slip knot of some sort to where it can hook onto something. Mm-hmm. And I toss it into the window. And I try to pull myself up if I catch on to anything. I guess I have to roll to catch on to something first.
Yeah, do a dex check.
Alright, we'll just do a dex check. 10 plus 2.
12. Okay. You definitely feel it catch on to something, but it doesn't feel very secure. Like, what you're trying to throw the rope in there, like, so you can tug on it without it being loose, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'd say you're concerned that if you were to put too much weight onto it, it would probably fall off of whatever it rolled onto. And you hear a loud, huh? and you hear a lot of feet pattering around all of a sudden.
I snag my rope and I run to the left side of the building.
Jeklar, unexpected of you, suddenly start running. He kind of like jumps from it, like, oh shit, and then he tries to run behind you. And you start hearing shouting from inside. Hey, where's Rocco? Where's Rocco? Find him, now. And you kind of hear the people like shuffling around a lot faster now, and you hear the front door kick open, and as soon as you hear like it slam open, you hear a "Ooh, boys, it's time."
Okay, so as they were, like as we start running to the left side of the building, we're also running like towards the forest. We're going to go hide in the forest for a moment.
Okay, give me a let's see, you run 30 feet first. Give me a stealth roll or a dex roll, I guess, again.
Okay, I'm not so lucky. Alright, 6 plus 2.
So you got an 8. You make it to the woods, but you really didn't have a good chance to get a great spot. You kind of just would have had to like jump into any bush. Let me roll a perception check on my side. No one saw you, but you immediately see about 8 guys start piling out the door behind that one guy. So there's about 9 guys there right now, and they start scattering off to each side. 4 go on to the left side where you would just kind of ran from, and then 4 more go on the opposite side, and the one guy stays at the front door. Jeklar obviously has been following behind you, and he kind of whispers to you, that looks like a lot of guys. I don't know how up for this we are.
Just shut up and hold still. We hide.
Alright. So, while you're hiding, these guys are just kind of running around, and as one of them make their way to the back, you hear an immediate, "Holy fuck, it's Rocco! Oh my god!" And they all start running to that. So within 10 seconds, all 9 guys are at the back of the building. So I'd say, in the angle you are in the woods, you're right at the wood line, basically just like sitting in a bush with Jeklar. But they're all circled around facing the wall where the guy was laying dead. Jeklar turns to you. You do magic?
Yes, I do magic.
I'm thinking maybe we could try to like lead these guys away from us or something. See if anyone's alive inside. I mean, there's blood everywhere. And he's whispering all this stuff.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try and sneak toward the front door. And I'm gonna throw a firebolt off into the distance into the woods behind us. Start a fire per se.
Let's see.
What kind of checks would we need to do?
And you said you're trying to throw it towards where?
Say what?
I couldn't hear you more. Where did you say you were trying to cast firebolt at?
Oh yeah, I was trying to cast that into the woods, like behind us.
So, seeing as you're not attacking anybody, I don't believe you need to make any check, but I do. Oh yeah, I'd say time you cast that also will use one of your slots, but I don't see how to know how many you have, but I'll figure that out soon. But, so you cast it, and within a second, like, time the fireball hits, all of them turn that way and start running. But the main guy that kicked open the door, he stands right there at the body, and he starts picking the corpse up. So he's the only one that didn't run off towards where the firebolt was.
Did we make it to the front door? Because you kind of cut in and out a little bit. I know the guys ran off to where I was, and the guy stayed in the back.
Yeah, so if we were running towards the front door, I'd say we made it over there.
Alright, so I'm now at the front door, so I guess we go in.
Alright. Open the door and roll a 20.
The B is a 20, so yeah, I rolled a 20 on that.
You said the B? What does that mean?
It landed on the B, which is a 20. It says 20, yeah. Oh, shit. You want to see it? I can send you a picture.
Maybe. I'm just a bit confused about the B point. So, if you want to show me just to see what that you're talking. Oh, okay. You're right. I just rolled and got a 20 as well. That's because it means beyond. Like, okay. I get it now. So, right on. You open the door, and there's nobody in there aside from blood all over. Here, now that you've opened the door, I can send you something to look at. Exact. And this whole room is just littered with, like, I'd say there's at least 16 bodies across the floor. People are cut into pieces. There's blood everywhere. All the alcohol's laying all over the bar ahead. And it's just pretty gory scene for what it is, for sure. Like, severed hands. There's a head sitting up on one of the tables, just a single person's head. And you see where the moose over there is? There are limbs sticking onto the horns, basically, of the moose.
Is there anybody in the room besides me and the jester?
Nah, it's just y'all in here.
Okay, so ignoring all this bloody shit, I'm running toward the top of the stairs.
Okay. As soon as you take your first step on that stairs, you hear a huh? And then you hear somebody stand up real heavy. Okay. So basically you're at the second floor now, so I'll send that one in.
Do I see this dude yet?
You don't see him quite yet, but you hear him running towards the stairs now.
I pull out my crossbow and some darts.
Mm-hmm.
And I wait for it. I'm like, what, at the bottom of the stairs, right?
Yeah.
Alright, I'll wait at the bottom of the stairs for him to come around the corner. How many feet do I have between me and him?
I'd say the stairway is probably about 10 feet, so and you're pretty much in a singular. If you're on the bottom of the stairs, you pretty much only have a straight shot, so because he's coming from the side, so the time he walks right there, unless you just roll really bad, it's pretty much a not miss. So you're going to roll with advantage for this attack too. Let me make sure I know what attack you roll with. Okay, roll a 20.
Is there a modifier to this?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a. Well.
Oh, god damn it. I rolled a fucking 1.
Oh, jeez. That's pretty rough. Well, that's gonna be an automatic failure then.
Wait a minute, you said I had advantage, right?
Oh, yeah, you do, yeah.
I get to roll twice.
Yeah.
Okay, I rolled an 8.
Okay, so as he comes running to the top of the stairway, when you shoot, your dart goes off to the left and hits the wall right beside where he is. And he kind of stops in surprise, looks at the arrow, and then starts reaching for his sword. And I'm going to need you to roll initiative now.
Another D20, right?
Yeah. Actually, you're supposed to roll a 10, but it doesn't much matter. It's just going to be whoever rolls highest gets to go first, and it follows that order. So you can roll a 20.
I rolled 15.
Alright. So you get to go again as he's grabbing his sword. It is your turn.
I shoot at him again.
Alright, roll another 20.
I rolled 17.
Alright, that does hit. So let's see. What you're using your crossbow?
My crossbow and darts.
Okay, so let's see. 1d4. Yeah, d4.
D4 lands on a 3.
Alright. So the arrow shoots him at the top right shoulder, and he takes 3 damage. The impact kind of jerks him back a little bit, and then it is now Jeklar's turn. Jeklar is going to... Let me take a look at the map, because you're right in front of me, so there's not too much he can specifically do to aim at him. He is going to... He quickly puts his short sword back up and pulls out his quarterstaff and tries to kind of like scoot beside you, but even with the guy still being at top, he's out of range for Jeklar. So I believe it will now be the bandit's turn, and he is going to run down the stairs at you and charge you. What's your armor class? 12 or something? Yes. So he does hit. It says he's supposed to have a scimitar, but I think I'd said he had a short sword. So let me roll. I'm going to do a 1d4. Okay. So he tries to hit you for 2 damage. Basically, he just kind of swings his sword down, and I'd say because you had your crossbow stuck out from where you're shooting, he just kind of cuts the side of your arm real quick, and you take a little bit of damage. And now he is literally like less than a foot in front of you, and Jeklar is half-assed beside you, and it is your turn again.
You said he's a foot in front of me?
Yeah, he's just standing right above you on the stairs where he just slashed down at you.
How much damage did I take again?
You took 2 damage.
Alright, so he's a foot in front of me. I'm a wizard. And, I have a question. Is, friendly fire a thing in D&D?
So you definitely can hurt your partners for sure. I think it's situational. Like, kind of, what you thinking?
I'm about to use thunderclap.
Thunderclap. I don't think it would hurt. I think that's more like a stunning thing, right? Okay. Oh, cool. You create a burst of thunderous sound that can be heard up to 100 feet away. Each creature within range must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or take 1d6. Okay, so it will affect Jeklar for sure if I don't succeed on a saving throw.
I hope he fucking saves, because I'm about to do it.
Alright, so you need to roll a... well, let's just roll for them first and see. Because I think pretty much you can just cast it. And that would be your second... Or you Yeah, so that would be your second spell slot, and I think more than likely you probably only have 3 level 1 slots. Oh, Jesus Christ, okay. So the bandit did not save on it, and I did not save on it. So Jeklar and the bandit have to take a 1d6. So the bandit takes 1 damage, and Jeklar will take 5 damage. What the fuck is his health? 12.
How much did the bandit take?
He took 1 damage. It's a 1d6, right? That's what it said.
Yeah, 1d6. That is fucking gay. Alright.
I definitely will say it has left Jeklar and him stunned. And, okay. And it was pretty loud. Keep that in mind. So, suddenly
That's what I wanted to happen.
Well, suddenly you hear more footsteps coming from upstairs still. And because...
Damn, I was hoping he was the only one.
Because me and the bandit are stunned, I'm going to go ahead and let you go again because we're so close contact. Like, just imagine how that's like somebody shooting a gun right in their ears, but worse.
So, like, am I able to pull out a weapon and stab this fucker real quick? Or can I have to do that in 2 separate turns?
So normally I think that would be an action and then a bonus action or just a separate action. But seeing as me and this bandit can't do shit, I think you got time to go ahead.
Alright, I pull out my short sword and I stab this dude. Like, that's what I'm aiming to do.
Let's see, short sword. What did it do? 1d6 last time, I think, or 1d4. Go ahead and roll to see if you hit with the 20.
4.
Oh, you rolled a 4? Well,
yeah, I rolled a 4.
Alright, so when you go to stab forward at him, in his stunned stupor, or he falls over backwards from it, and when you go to stab, you just kind of stab at the air above him. And as you do that, another bandit appears at the top of the stairs, freaked out. He didn't know what was going on. He just heard this loud boom out of nowhere. So I believe that would put it to the bandit on the ground. He is going to use his action to stand up, and his weapon was knocked out of his hand, so he's going to try and push one of us down the steps. I'm going to think he's probably going to aim for you because I'm standing there with the staff and you got a sword. Alright. Your armor class is 12. So, he does push you, and I don't think he does not have an unarmed stat. So I'm gonna say you just basically kind of actually make a dexterity save for this. So that would be +2. So you've definitely been pushed, but you're making this check to see if you're falling down these steps or not.
I rolled an 18.
Alright, so with that being said, you're gonna hold your ground. He pushes you, but you're still steady. And then that makes it my turn. I'm going to, Jeklar, immediately swing at the bandit with my quarterstaff. Oh. Well, I rolled a 4, so I swing and somehow miss him. And now it would
Jeklar fucking missed.
I rolled a 4. So now the bandit at the top is going to pull out a light crossbow, and he's going to aim at Jeklar. And he rolls a 3. So his shot fires right above both of our heads. And it is back to your turn.
I try to stab this dude again with my short sword.
Alright, roll that d20.
17.
Alright, that's definitely going to hit. And so roll a d6 now for damage.
4.
Alright. He staggers backwards as you stab into him, and he starts bleeding out a little bit. Kind of causes him to fall back over. And then it is Jeklar's turn. Because he's fallen over, now that Jeklar's attacking him, Jeklar's going to have advantage. Because basically all Jeklar has to do is stab down at him with this thing. I rolled a 9. I'm going to re-roll. And it was a 9 again. So I got a 9, but I'd say because of the physician, it's a pretty relatively easy hit. He probably just kind of like hits his leg a little bit. And now I need to look up what the quarterstaff is. It is 1d8. I wouldn't think quarterstaff is stronger than the short sword, but okay. So 1d8. I have to figure out which one it is. This one. Alright. So it hits him for 4 damage. And somehow this hit to his knee has finished this bandit off. He just kind of dies right there on the spot. Maybe you're bleeding out. He bled too much. And then this was just the final blow, the last straw for him. Alright. And that would make it the other bandit's turn. He's going to take another shot off at me this time because I shot his buddy. And he got a 9. So I'm going to say since he's not as close, I don't think a 9 would hit. So it just kind of shoots past us again. Pretty scary shit zooming past us, but we're lucky, and it is your turn again.
So this bandit's at the top of the stairs, and I'm at the bottom.
Yeah, well, you got pushed a little bit, but you didn't fall off, so I'd say, yeah, you're relatively at the bottom, but maybe a step up or two.
So, I rushed this dude with my short sword.
Alright, roll a dexterity check.
Gotta run up them stairs.
Yeah.
I rolled a 5.
That's with your +2?
Then it would be 7.
Running upstairs ain't too hard. I'm thinking a 7 is gonna be efficient. But now I'm gonna have you roll to see if you hit him with it. So a 20 again.
I fucking rolled a 2.
Jeez. Alright, well, I'm gonna say time you got to the top of the stairs, when you went to stab him, he just kind of lunges back. And then that would make it Jeklar's turn. Jeklar is going to try and yeet his staff to hit the guy. So that way, because he can't really do shit from there with it. That is a 13, and for that, what would that be like? Athletics, or I'm trying to think like throwing like a javelin type thing. We'll go with like a dexterity because it's kind of sportsy, I guess. But so that's gonna make it a 15, and that will be a hit. And let's see, that was a D8. Okay.
So he threw this past me, right?
Yes.
Like, I don't have to throw no rolls or anything?
Nah, if I had rolled under a 10, it would have probably hit you.
Alright.
So, the bandit, let's see if the hit actually knocks him on it. Nah, he stands pretty sturdy. Shit hits him and he takes it like a boss. And he's going to, since you're so close, he knows the crossbow's probably not a great weapon, so he goes to throw it in your face. So roll a... Nah, I think that's a roll for him. Alright, he throws it right in your face, so now you just need to roll a dex check to see if it knocks you down the stairs. It's some rough stair fight.
I rolled a 12. And dude, you just had me dead for a second when he said he took it like a boss. I about spit out my pizza.
Alright, so you rolled a 12, so that's a 14. I'm going to say you kind of stagger back a step, but you don't fall. And just to cover your ass, Jeklar went to try and catch you in case you fall, and instead kind of fell forward himself, apparently. Like, he didn't fall onto you, but he stumbled down, so he's kind of like, his hands are on one of the steps, and he's kind of like arched over to keep himself from falling flat on the steps. And that puts it back at your turn.
What's my current range on this dude?
I'd say you're probably 3 feet away, I guess. I'd say 3 feet.
I go to stab him again.
Alright, roll your 20.
I rolled 9.
Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna say that hits. So then you would roll your D6.
I rolled a 5.
Okay, so I think you had just hit the guy, right? And you said you did how much damage?
I rolled a 5.
Okay, well, then that, when you stab him, he falls back against the wall, and his eyes slowly close as he lets out a sound. And Jeklar finally stands himself up. He looks at you and he was like, I imagine this could have went a lot better.
So, I'm looking at the top floor now. Give me a moment. I'm trying to figure out what my next action's about to be.
Okay.
Okay, so we run down this hallway toward that room at the back with the bear rug, with the purple bed.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make our way to that room.
Give me a perception check, which I believe is just a wisdom. Okay, I guess a wisdom check.
10 plus 4.
14. I'm gonna say that's gonna cut it. As you run past or towards the purple room, the room to the left of it with the blue bed, you can see somebody sleeping in the bed. They're not snoring or anything, but they're definitely out.
I run in and I shove my sword into their stomach.
Alright. He is going to roll at disadvantage because he is out. And so he ends up with a 5 over a 19. Lucky you. So he does not wake up. So go ahead and roll yourself 2 d6s. Because the dude's pretty much out of it. He ain't got no chance of stopping you. So I imagine you can stab that shit as good as you want.
6 plus 3, 9.
He opens his eyes and lets out a loud "Ah!" And then Jeklar, okay, he's still alive, so Jeklar quickly swings at him with his quarterstaff right up the head. And it's a critical 20, so, what was mine, an 8-sided? Alright, well, he's dead as fuck. My quarterstaff goes right into his skull. So this is a gruesome looking scene. You're standing there with a sword in his chest, and he's got a quarterstaff sticking out his face. He dead as fuck. Alright. So what would you like to do now?
Me and Jekyll are about to shut this door, and we're gonna hide in this room for a minute.
Alright. Jekyll looks himself over. He seems to be pretty untouched here. He can look at you and tell you're a little roughed up. What's the plan, boss man?
There's more guys outside, so what we're gonna have to do is there a window in this room?
Yes. There are basically to the right of this room, like that wall that's just a dead end basically, there is a window looking out, and right under that would be where the bandit got his throat slit.
Well, we're gonna have to look out the window first, see where those other bandits are at.
Alright. Looking outside, you can see there's a huge forest fire right now. And you do not see any of the bandits out there. Not even the one that was below that stayed with the body. And the body is also gone too.
So I'm now going to use my rope to tie it to something that's stable in the room, whether it be the bed or something. And me and Jackal's going to propel ourselves out of the building.
Alright, let's both roll a dex check. Okay. Alright, well.
I rolled an 11.
I'd say that's satisfactory enough for you. When Jekyll gets on the rope, he slips and he falls and takes 2 damage, but he lands on the ground where the body once was, and you would have successfully made your way down. Alright, so you're both at the bottom. Jekyll kind of stands up and brushes himself off, a little embarrassed. He looks around. I find it kind of weird that they're gone. Do you think the forest fire scared them off?
I'm not sure. We should probably sneak our way around to the front. Make sure.
He nods in approval, and he begins following behind you.
We sneak around the right side this time.
Alright. Aside from, the regular blood and everything, you're not really seeing anything different, and as you get to the front, there's still nobody there. Jekyll kind of looks around. He's feeling kind of uncomfortable. What should we do? I don't really know what to think of this situation.
The place has been raided by bandits. We need to report this to the guard.
He nods. Okay. Let's get this information back to them then.